Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dylan Silver, and today on the show I have Jason Fogarty. Jason is a retired Army veteran with 23 years of service as a Black Hawk pilot and Medical Service Corps officer. He and his wife, Fawn, have been married nearly 4 years and share a blended family of 4 children. Jason now owns the Joe Homebuyer franchise in Montgomery, Alabama, where he provides off-market real estate solutions to homeowners across southern Alabama. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Absolutely. But before hopping in here, I said this is the second guest that I've had from Alabama. I wish we had more guests in Alabama. I'm actually very interested in the real estate market out there, because I think there's a lot of these markets. I'm in Texas, right, where they get a lot of national acclaim, but I think a lot of these other markets deserve lots of attention too. I bet there's great deals to be had out there in Alabama.
Oh, there absolutely is. I know the definitely nice thing about Alabama is the cost of living, the cost of property is a lot cheaper, especially Montgomery and South. There's a lot of deals to be had where you can come in as a cash buyer and make an incredible deal.
Now, after leaving military service, did you know you wanted to get into the real estate space?
So I've been involved in real estate for about the last 10, 15 years with personally owned rentals.
Okay.
And it was something I was thinking about, and it just really sort of Joe Homebuyer reached out to me, and we got talking, and really their values and everything really aligned with what I'm looking for, with trying to help people in the real estate space. And it definitely got me interested in becoming a real estate investor and trying to help people not just buy properties but also sell, because people have a lot of different reasons why they need to sell, and we try to make sure that we're able to provide a good deal for them, and then also providing a service to them to make sure that their needs are met.
So when I think of off market, I'm typically thinking of some level of distressed real estate where people are able to do a value add of some variety in order to get it either to rental grade or to flip grade, and then are able to exit from there. Tell me about the strategy with Joe Homebuyer.
So a great question. Yeah, a lot of what we do is we do focus on that, that off market stuff. So really, talking off market, not on the MLS, and a lot of times it is those properties that do need to be fixed up and aren't necessarily ready for the market. And people have a lot of reasons why they need to sell. It could just be the house is too much for them, needs too much work. They need to sell quick, for whatnot, where the normal work of the realtor doesn't work for them. And that's really where Joe Homebuyer really brings a lot to the table, is understanding what the person's needs, making sure that we're able to provide a solution that really meets what they need so they can move on to the next chapter in their life.
Now, I think as myself being a wholesaler, now realtor, I've been licensed for almost 2 months now. I think about the deals that I've come across, and there's so many different reasons why someone might be what we would consider a distressed seller. And the most obvious one is the home is in disrepair. But there's so many reasons, really. I mean, just to name a few, you've got family, you've got divorce, you've got death, right? And then you've also got, maybe they just don't want to be associated with the home for whatever reason, right? Maybe someone had passed and now it's bad memories and they're moving on to something else. And so each situation is so unique. I mean, I'm sure you've seen this, Jason, too, where someone actually has a good real estate portfolio and they're maybe retiring or they're getting elderly and their kids don't want to take it over. And it's maybe millions of real estate. And so they're kind of selling off one property at a time. So all different types of people that I've come across.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Oh, absolutely. It's no two sellers are the same. So it's definitely a lot of, you do really want to spend the time, get to know the seller, so understand their situations, because they may be that tired landlord and just want to sell, but they may not come out and say that they're tired of real estate or whatever the reason is. So really, as you get to know them, you start pulling out what those, I guess, Chris Voss would say, those black swans, to really understand what their motivations are, because what they say, as you start understanding them, might not be the real reason. As you start understanding them, help it also work with them to really understand what their needs truly are.
That book, Never Split the Difference, one of the best books, definitely in my lifetime. I'm 31 years old. That book changed the way that I viewed communicating with all people. Because if you've read the book, as you have, Jason, it's one of these deals where you can approach pretty much any high stakes conversation as if it's like a hostage negotiation. And it's true. These conversations, it's definitely with a seller, can change a business. They can change that seller's life. They can change so many lives involved. And so how do you skill up and tactfully negotiate and really communicate, really, to where it makes sense for a seller and it makes sense for a buyer? That was an amazing read.
Yeah, it was great, and and I think his book really doesn't apply. You could just you don't have to be an FBI hostage negotiator. You don't need to be in real estate. The stuff that you take away from his book apply for literally every interaction that you have. If you can even apply to your spouse, significant other, and it helps open up those lines of communication. And I think a lot of what you take away from that is improving those lines of communication, so you and the seller are not sitting opposite sides of the table, not treating a transaction, but working to be on the same side of the table, so you and that seller together can work together to come up to an agreement that works for both parties. So it's not one of those win-lose situations or win-win. It's, at the end of the day, it's we win working with that seller together.
Now, I think when it comes to communication in general, right? There's so many different ways where people can go about it. What that book really highlighted for me was this idea that there's actual strategy, like X's and O's of communication. It's not just the script. It's not just what you know, but it's how to effectively communicate. I mean, some of the things, Jason, like I learned from that book, like radio FM DJ voice and like inflections, right? And he's literally breaking down how he worked as a hostage negotiator. And I remember I was selling cars for Nissan at the time and had this book recommended to me. And it's been applicable, like you said, in relationships. It's been applicable in real estate, but outside as well. I mean, if you think from him with his FBI background to then all the different areas that it's expanded to, it's really pretty incredible there. I'm curious, as someone who's acquiring these off-market properties yourself, do you tend to look at these leads as a long-term follow-up? What's your follow-up process with them? Or as soon as you're getting a lead in, do you look at it like, okay, we've got only really a set period of time because someone else is going to come up behind us if we don't, and they're going to move with someone else if we don't get this under contract?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah, no, that's great. Great question. Yeah. So I think it's how I view it is, obviously I want to, make contact with that, prospective seller as soon as possible because, yeah, and it's not something where it has to be closed quickly. Everyone's situation is obviously different, but I think developing that relationship early on is very key. But as you go from there, people may be in a situation where they need to sell right away for whatever reason, or they could have X, Y, and Z that they can't sell right away. They need to wait for the school year to end, wait find a new house before they can sell. Whatever it is, I think the biggest thing we're able to provide is creating that relationship, showing how we are of service to that seller, and that is a thing I think really with Joe Homebuyer is shown like we're head and shoulders above a lot of these wholesalers out there that are trying to treat it very transactional. It's we we want to make sure that we're able to come up with a deal that works for both us and the seller, but making sure that we are providing things, bringing things to the table that go beyond just that transaction.
I hope I'm not going to put you on the spot too much with this question. So feel free to kind of knock this down the road if you don't want to answer this one. But is there a difference or a key difference between what Joe Homebuyer is doing and maybe some of the other big box wholesale companies that people might be familiar with?
I would say I think the biggest difference is the values that Joe Homebuyer has, and that's what really attracted me to him. Is they, you know, the four H's. They really have they're the heart for that seller we're working with, and making sure we're humble. We're making sure that we're continuing to learn about that person's situation because we don't want to assume anything. So we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to be a value add. There's a lot of a lot of the other wholesalers out there, especially the ones that I sort of call them like the fly by night ones, where they're just out there trying to lock up a deal regardless of the price and let it drag out. We want to make sure that you know we are working with the seller, coming to an agreement that works, so that way we can get to a price that we're able to perform on, so we're able to make sure we can get them on that next stage of life quickly and not have to come back to them and let them know that we're not able to perform.
I'm a wholesaler. I'm a realtor here in DFW. I have a rather niche strategy that I think I'm surprised more people aren't doing it, but I'm always curious what other people's strategies are. So I'll ask you again, without giving away all the game here, Jason, but maybe some. Are you, when you're presenting these offers to prospective sellers, are you letting them know, hey, we have a captive investor network, we'll close on it ourselves? Are you doing subject to deals? I see the subject to hat in the background there. What type of offers are you, seller finance, right? What type of offers are you providing to sellers?
So it really depends on the person's situation and what the house is. I do partner up with a lot of investors that if it is a property that doesn't necessarily meet what I'm looking for, I will bring in that investor to be able to assign that property to that investor. And I do look for multiple exit strategies where like you mentioned, those creative finance deals subject to, where I think having those levers are very good to have in your back pocket, because not every seller is suitable for a wholesale cash deal. They may have a house that is pretty much market ready, but their timeline doesn't necessarily meet being on the market, and they have that super low interest rate that is attractive to investors where it can have that creative finance deal. So I think the biggest thing is having, knowing the multiple exit strategies so that way you can have that correct lever to pull that meets that seller's needs.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Now, I'm not familiar with the Alabama real estate market, although I really would like to be now that I've had two guests on the show here. And I think it's one of these areas where, again, we get a lot of, I'm in Dallas, North Dallas, right? We get a lot of attention out here, and we like to think we're one of the best single family markets for real estate investors in the country, Texas, and then maybe our competitors, we look at Florida, right? I've had a lot of people on the podcast in Arizona. I think Alabama is probably a great area, and I've actually heard great things that as recently even that you could find lots of deals that meet the 1% rule, right? So 1% of the rents is equal to the purchase price type of deal after you put in the rehab. And so I'm curious, as someone who's based out there in Alabama, are you someone who looks at it like this is a great area and it's really ripe for innovation? We need more investors, and it's really a great state to be investing in.
Yeah, it is absolutely a great state to be investing in. The biggest thing is the people that are the fix and flippers, the contractors, are really the ones that we want to make sure that we're bringing the area. There is a lot of properties that have great deals, but would be a great deal, but they do require work because there's a lot of older homes that do need some work to really bring back to shine and bring them up to standard that would make great rentals. For example, right now I'm in the process of buying 3 rental properties. 2 are one transaction where I'm under contract for 2 houses for $33,000, have tenants in place, and right now they both together rent for $950 a month. I mean, you can't beat that. So there is a lot of opportunities to be had. A lot of situations where you can bring value to the table and at the same time provide housing for people, because that way some of these houses, they're getting close to needing some work where if it doesn't happen the next few years, they're going to become unlivable. So if that person could come in, rehab, restore those houses, keeps providing that affordable housing for people going forward in the future.
Is Joe Homebuyer focused and centered in Alabama, or are they all over?
So Joe Homebuyer is all over. I think so. They're headquartered out of South Jordan, Utah, but we have franchises all throughout the U.S. I think the last number I heard in March or April was we have 58 franchises spread throughout the U.S.
I think the franchise model is interesting because I've had actually other people on the show here with a similar franchise model in the wholesale real estate space. And when I think of franchises, I think of, I think a lot of people think of like retail and they think of maybe restaurants, but franchising a real estate investment business is such a unique opportunity. I'm sure when you first had this opportunity, it was very interesting because you effectively have a lot of mentorship and you have the ability to have a business all rolled into one, plus kind of the backing of a network of people that have been successful doing this for a long period of time and a track record to boot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the biggest thing that is really Joe Homebuyer corporate brings to the table is, being if you're a franchise owner, you essentially have constant access to basically real estate masterminds where you've got, Cody Hofine, Mark Strubler, 2 of the giants within the wholesale, off-market realty community are the co-owners. So we as franchise owners do have very regularly access with all of them other large, people with lots of experience within the real estate community that we can constantly reach out to continually refine and grow our skills so that way we're able to be more successful and bring more value to the people we interact with.
Jason, when I'm hearing all of this, I'm thinking about my journey when I was starting out in wholesale, and I was thinking about the mistakes that I made. We had different paths, right? So you were military and investing while being. By the way, congratulations on that, because I think everybody who is military really should be investing while they're active, because you have so many benefits that you can utilize. I had no idea, right? And so you were able to do both, but. When I was starting out, wasn't really aware of what my options were. And so I kind of thought, well, I don't have lots of money. What can I do? I had no even inkling as to what wholesale was. All I knew was real estate was expensive and that I wanted to partake in it, because if I can't beat them, join them. I was living in San Antonio and working for Nissan. I said, look, this is very expensive. How do I get involved in this? Because I just see my rents going up and up and up. So how do I become an owner, right? And I think I kind of fell into wholesaling through going to a networking event, but it ended up really just sparking a passion for me uh, in the real estate space. And so when I think of like what was the big takeaways for me, what were the aha moments and the game changers, it really comes down to, for me personally, networking. I learned a lot. Yeah, I got my license. I studied for tests. I've bought lots of books. I've been to courses, been to conferences. These have all been great. But the biggest value adds for me have been having these conversations, hearing about different strategies, being able to have like a text conversation, with a couple different people, staying in touch with these people. These have been the real game changers for me.
Oh, absolutely. And it's like something where, if I knew, if I went, back to, 18-year-old Jason and knew what I know now, it would have been a game changer. Especially with the military side, with, the VA loans, everything that is available, that it would have been a game changer. And that is, I know one thing that, like, I'm trying to part my son. He enlisted in the Navy. He's shipping basic training next month. He's already picking my brain on, when he gets on training, when he's able to live off base, how he can take what's available and leverage it. Like he's already talking using his VA loan to buy a fourplex so he can live in one unit and his tenants pay his rent, his mortgage for him, and then he pockets his housing allowance. Like there's a lot of knowledge out there, and really anyone that wants to, learn anything about real estate is, find those people that have been doing it for me. Talk to realtors, go to RIA groups. There's a lot of ways to gain knowledge and interaction with people that know what they're talking about.
I think that's huge. Congratulations to you and your family on the success and to the future success as well. I think I had a loan originator who specialized with military, and it was new to me. I think most people may be vaguely aware, but they might not be totally aware that you go to your basic training, and then basically 3 months after that, so 6 months in the military, you're qualifying for a home. And so 18 years old, right? What 18-year-old is going to qualify for a home in any major city? Very, very few, right? But you have military, and then you're qualifying for a home at 18 years old within 6 months of it's unbelievable. And granted, most people might think that that's a huge undertaking. What am I going to do? But if you're going to be going to college and you're going to be taking out these big loans anyhow, right? Or you have the military and then you have a place to stay, and then you could fill it maybe with tenants. It is an unbelievable opportunity, I think, for real estate investors. I think if there's any real estate investors out there who are thinking, I'm young, what do I do? Honestly, joining the military is kind of a great way to get your real estate investing career started.
Oh, absolutely. Because there is a ton of benefits. You're also in communities that, by default or, relatively, what's one of for, nomadic, transitory by nature, where, every few years they're moving. So you've got a ready population of people that are ready to rent from you. That if you can buy those properties, you'll have someone who wants to rent.
At what point in your military career did you realize that, yeah, I've got a passion for this real estate thing?
Uh, so it was one of those things where I think it was just like 2008 down here in Alabama, of all places. Like I had a house, couldn't get it sold, so I just decided, hey, I'm gonna rent it out, and kept renting it. The rent paid the mortgage, so came 10 years later. time to sell, and it was, made, $70,000 proceeds at close that I was able to put towards 3 more houses.
There's your
And
proof
then,
right there. You're like, well, I'm a real estate investor now.
absolutely. And just from, learning from there, now, with DSCR loans, other options where, especially if you're an investor, there should be no reason why you need to do a personal loan to buy properties, go on your credit, start establishing your Wyoming LLCs now. There's lots of ways that you can just go forward, be successful.
Jason, we are coming up on time here. Where can folks go to get a hold of you?
Okay, sure. Yeah. So if you you can either find me on social media, on Instagram, Joe Homebuyer of Montgomery. My website is jhbofmontgomery.com, or you can reach out, look me up online with Joe Homebuyer of Montgomery. Contact me through that way through my business page, or email me through jfogarty@joehomebuyer.com.
Jason, thank you so much for coming on the show here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was great. Loved talking with you.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.